10 years ago, we thought The Witcher 3 looked unbelievable. Now games are so real that they blur the line between gaming and reality. But did gaming actually get better or just louder? Because for every new pixel we gained, something quieter faded away. 10 years, that's all it took for gaming to go from this to this. And that's what we're diving into today. A decade where technology sprinted forward and the heart of gaming tried to keep up. Let's start with what hits our eyes first, graphics. In 2015, open worlds were dense but stylized. You could feel the limits, a painted skybox, a hint of blur on a distant hill. Back then, imagination filled in the gaps. But now, those gaps are gone. Photogrammetry, AI upscaling, ray tracing, all of these things mean that every surface glows with detail. But here's the irony, when everything looks perfect, nothing stands out. 10 years ago, you'd stop and screenshot a sunset. Today, you barely even notice. And it's because every second already looks like a concept art, and you get used to it. So why do older worlds still feel alive while new ones feel sterile? Because back then, our minds did half the work. Imagination filled what technology couldn't. Immersion didn't evolve as fast as visuals, so we pretty much got prettier worlds, but not deeper ones. And that's why Skyrim still thrives in mods and memes while some photorealistic worlds fade within a year. The truth is, visual fidelity became normal, and once something becomes normal, it stops feeling magical. Remember when Can It Run Crisis was a joke? Now even a mid-range GPU can handle those old monsters. Yet, some new titles barely hit 60 frames on hardware 10 times stronger. So what happened? We hit the beauty tax. Every reflection, every particle system comes at a cost. Studios sell trailers, not frame rates. Players accept day one patches as normal these days, but performance is part of the fun. When the frame rate stutters, the illusion breaks and you stop playing and start noticing. And it's proven time and time again. Look what dominates the Steam charts right now. Valorant, Minecraft, Palworld, even Lethal Company. None of these are graphic powerhouses, but they feel good to play. Gamers don't remember resolution, we remember rhythm. Smooth controls and story beat cinematic frame drops every time. So the real question isn't how real can it look, it's how right can it feel. You see, game design evolved in a different direction. In 2015, depth was king. Tight quest lines, memorable characters, clear beginnings and endings, and it all made sense. But in 2025, scale became the goal instead. You have bigger maps, procedural content, infinite side quests. But somewhere between those map markers, we lost the journey. Where everything's highlighted, nothing feels discoverable. Like, I miss that feeling of actually walking into an area and discovering something new. It feels like games don't trust you to explore anymore, they want to hold your hand. Players used to say, I found this secret by accident. Now they say, I finished the map. I found the collectibles. I followed all the map markers. It's not that big worlds are bad. They just forgot to be mysteries. That's why games like Elden Ring hit so hard. It trusts players to just get lost. There's no checklist, no hand holding, just a world that felt indifferent to you, and that made it feel alive. Modern design often confuses freedom with flooding. We don't need more objectives, we need more purpose. And maybe that's the lesson for the next decade. Stop building bigger maps and start building meaningful ones. I still remember stories and interactions I had on games like Oblivion and Skyrim because they were just so good with storytelling. But Cyberpunk? I don't remember stories at all. Put me on Cyberpunk, I ain't got a bloody clue what I'm doing. I don't remember the map, it wasn't memorable. I haven't played Skyrim for a while, but if you put me on that game, I will be able to find my way around. It was memorable because of the stories that were being told along the way. Just like WRAITH Energy is memorable, and the code Green Lycan is also memorable. Use it at checkout for 10% off. You see, visuals grab attention, but sounds create the presence. In 2015, a great soundtrack was a bonus. In 2025, sound is the immersion. You can hear where bullets land, you can feel the size of a room through the echoes. Engines like Unreal's Metasounds and Dolby Atmos build 3D spaces around your ears. But sound isn't just accuracy, it's emotion. When you hear wind swell before a final boss, or a quiet theme fade as you leave a town, that's the game talking to you without words. Realism makes you believe, but emotion makes you care. And when both collide, you stop hearing sound, you start feeling the atmosphere. Storytelling in games didn't just evolve, it split in two. You have the simple side, and then you have the cinematic side. And both sides remind us of why games matter, but they do it in different ways. On one side, you have AAA spectacle. Cinematic shots act as motion capture, dialogue so real you can see the breath in the air. On the other side, you have the indie simplicity, pixels, text boxes, and music that stings harder than any cutscene. And both work really well, because emotion isn't about budget, it's about agency. In games, you don't just watch a story, you carry it. Every choice and every failure, every restart is yours, you own it. And that's why something like Baldur's Gate 3 connects so deeply. It lets you own your journey. It's also the reason why Undertale still haunts people years later, because it remembers what you did, and that affects the story. Films show you empathy, and games teach it, and that's a power that no render pipeline can replicate. Realism can't replace connection. Emotion is still gaming's ultimate next-gen feature, but there's so many games that are forgetting about it these days. When we talk about Baldur's Gate 3, we're talking about a company that have been making games for a long time. Larian Studios were founded in 1996, and they created the Divinity series. When they made Baldur's Gate 3, they created an epic based on what they had previously done. They just did it in the Dungeons & Dragons universe instead. And while graphics and sound evolved over time, so did the way that we connect as players. In 2015, gaming community was something you joined. It was forums, LANs, mod teams, friends lists. Going back before that, you had programs like GameSpy and stuff that allowed you to connect with your friends. Even Discord, which originally started to create game chat where you could talk to your friends while playing games. But now, community is something you log into. Live service models keep worlds alive forever until the servers shut down. We traded ownership for access. It's easier than ever to jump into a match, but harder than ever to keep a piece of it. If a server shuts down, the game's gone forever. With the old forums and friends lists, you can still carry on with playing new games together. But when a game dies, so does its entire community. Think about how many games you've lost to discontinued servers or digital delisting. Those memories are gone, not because you moved on, but because they did. Community is still the heart of gaming, and we're no longer in control of the heartbeat. Maybe the next revolution won't be about graphics or AI, maybe it will be about taking ownership back, or hitting the subscribe button, or the like button, or the notification bell, whatever floats your boat. So many people say that the future is realism, and I don't think so. The future is responsiveness. AI-driven NPCs that remember your choices, worlds that reshape themselves to your style, stories that change when you break the rules. This sort of thing sounds incredible, and a little unnerving. If a world can think for itself, does it still reflect us? If games predict what we want before we want it, do we still play them, or do they play us? Maybe the challenge for the next decade isn't making games smarter, but keeping them human. With the advances of AI today, this is exactly the problem we've got. 2015 gave us imagination, 2025 gave us immersion, but maybe the best era of gaming isn't behind or ahead, it's right now, in the balance in between both. Because gaming's evolutions mirror us. Each upgrade chasing realism while nostalgia reminds us why we started. The question isn't what games can do next, it's what they should do. So let me ask you, if you could bring one game from 2015 to 2025, updated visuals, new graphics, but everything else the same, which one would it be? Drop it down in the comments, let me know what you think. Thank you for watching.